there, it's Asia, and in this video I'd like to share with you my top tips for IELTS Academic Writing Task 1, which I hope will help you write better answers and achieve a higher score. Before we begin, I just wanted to check if you've seen my new step-by-step IELTS writing tutorial, where you can write your Task 1 and Task 2 answers together with me. In this class, I'll teach you the fundamentals of IELTS writing and show you how to write high-scoring answers step by step. All the details are in the video description, and now let's get started. My first tip is avoid providing too many details in your report. To explain what I mean, let me show you a task. Here it is. The charts below show the average consumption of 3 nutrients by adults in the UK. All these nutrients may be unhealthy if eaten too much. And then we see 3 pie charts: sodium, saturated fat, and added sugar. On each chart, we can see what proportion of this nutrient people consume with each meal: breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. For example, sodium. People eat 13% of sodium with breakfast, 28% with lunch, 42% with dinner, and so on. So what I'm doing now is I'm providing every detail, I'm describing every number. Doing that in your report is wrong. It will limit your score. The task is to summarize the information. So let me give you an example to illustrate my point. This is a bad example. A typical breakfast contains 13% of the daily intake of sodium, 16% of saturated fat, and 16% of added sugar. What I did here is I described every number I could find on those charts. This is a bad idea. What you should do instead is find the key trends, differences, or stages. When you look at your data, you need to analyze them and explain what they mean, what stands behind the data. So if we continue talking about our breakfast, a much better example would be this. A typical breakfast is the lightest meal of the day, which contains between 13 and 16% of each nutrient. So here I used the same data, but I analyzed them. I explained what they mean. That breakfast is the lightest meal of the day. And then I supported my description with figures, which contains between 13 and 16% of each nutrient. So I provided just enough detail to support my statement, but not more. And here is my next tip. Support your description with figures. Just like in our previous example, there is a statement and then some figures to support it. Here is another example. Out of all the meals, dinner contains the largest proportions of sodium and saturated fat, 42% and 39% of daily intake respectively. Again, I'm not just saying dinner contains 42% of sodium, because that means nothing. I say that it contains the highest proportion, which is much more meaningful, and then I support my statement with the exact number. And the word respectively means that numbers come in the same order as things were mentioned. So 42 is sodium, and 39 is saturated fat. It's a really useful word for task 1. Okay, the next tip is describe data correctly. It's very easy to make a simple mistake of reporting the wrong number, but you lose marks for that, so be careful. Next, write an overview. I know the task doesn't say that you must write an overview, but you must. An overview is a very short summary of the main things you've learned from the task. You just need to write 1 or 2 sentences without any details, without any numbers. So here is the overview for this task. Overall, The first 2 meals of the day eaten by adults in the UK are relatively balanced and healthy, whereas dinner contains the most sodium and saturated fat. Most of the added sugar is in snack foods. You see, even without seeing those charts, we can already say what this task was about. So this is the overview. And by the way, foods, it's not a mistake. When you talk about different kinds of food, you can say foods. And if you'd like to see the full sample answer for this task, I will link the video in the description. Use the correct tense. That's my next tip. It's very easy to report the information in the wrong tense because you have so many things to think about. But that's a significant mistake, so pay attention to that. Let's have a look at some tasks. So in the task with pie charts, we don't have any dates. So everything is in the present, and we use mainly the present simple tense. Breakfast contains, people eat, and so on. Now this one, a bar chart. Here we have 3 time periods, 2003, 2006, and 2013. So here everything is in the past and you need to use the past tenses to present the information. Finally, we have 2 maps. Islip Town Centre now, so that's the present tense, and planned development. So that's about the future. There are actually 2 ways to talk about a planned development. You can say, the plan proposes the construction of a circular road. So we use the present simple tense to talk about the future. And another one, a new shopping center will be built. So that's the future simple tense. Will be built is the passive voice. We don't know who's going to build it. It's not important. It will be built by someone. So in your report, it's best to use a combination of both tenses. Next, have at least 2 body paragraphs in your report. If you have 2 maps in your task, it's quite logical to think that you will have 2 body paragraphs. But even if you have 1 big chart or a diagram, you still need to have at least 2 body paragraphs. You may have 3. Next, don't write a conclusion. You don't need it in your task 1. You need it in task 2. In task 1, writing a conclusion is a waste of time. So spend this time on writing a good overview. And don't give your opinion. You can analyze the data, but you shouldn't say what you personally think about it. So here are some examples of things you should not say in task 1. People should reduce their consumption of sugar and saturated fat. In the task, we've learned that consuming too much fat or sugar is unhealthy. But this is a recommendation, so it's not about the data. Don't give recommendations. Next. After the proposed development, the park will be too small. So who decides if it's too small or not? You do. So again, it's a judgment. Don't do that. Report it neutrally. The park will become smaller in size. Here is another one. The proposed plan has a number of drawbacks. Again, it's you deciding what is a benefit and what is a drawback. So don't include phrases like that in your task 1 report. You should also study good quality examples. One of the reasons why task 1 is so difficult is because we're not used to dealing with this sort of information in English. So you should get used to it. When I moved to London, a friend of mine recommended the Financial Times. This is a newspaper where you can find a lot of articles describing data. At first, reading it was such a challenge. Not only words, but the style. But with time, it got easier, and it definitely helped me improve my English. You can also go to the Office for National Statistics. On their website, they have a lot of charts, and short articles describing them, and the language is concise and to the point. It's wonderful, highly recommended. My next tip is for those who take a paper-based exam. In Task 1, you must write more than 150 words. This requirement is for everyone. But if you take a computer-based test, you will see how many words you've written at the bottom of the screen. If you take a paper-based test, there is no information like that, but you don't have time to count words during your exam. That's why you should write your practice answers on the official answer sheets. With time, you will know how long your answer should be to reach the minimum word count, and that will save you time. Next, prepare for all types of tasks. In Task 1, you may get charts, tables, maps, or diagrams. It seems that charts and tables are most popular, most common these days, but you should definitely prepare for all types of tasks because from time to time, students get one of the rare types. Next, learn Task 1 vocabulary. We've already discussed that you need specific words to describe your charts, maps, and diagrams, so learning them will really help you with this task. You can find those words yourself, read articles, and learn new words from them. I also have a ready-made guide. It's a paid product, but you can download a preview for free. I will link it in just a few seconds. Just let me remind you about my new step-by-step IELTS writing tutorial, where you can write your Band 7+ answers with me step by step and get one step closer to passing your IELTS writing test. I will link it in the description. And now you can download the free preview of Task 1 vocabulary right here. Thank you so much for watching me today. Good luck with your preparation and your exam. Bye!